Right now, joining us on the phone line is one of our favorites, all-pro linebacker for the San Francisco 49ers, getting set to head to Philadelphia for another NFC Championship game, second in a row for this guy in the San Francisco 49ers. Fred Warner back here on the Rich Eisen Show. How you doing, Fred?
I'm doing great, Rich. Thanks for having me on, man.
I am thrilled to have you on this program. Let's hit right now. What's going through your mind as you get ready for another NFC Championship game back-to-back for you?
Yeah, I mean, Philly's all on my mind right now, just because that's who it's all about this week. And they're such an amazing team, and their offense is, is so good in so many areas that it's like, it's going to take a lot of film study and trying to find where we could possibly find one of their weaknesses. But it's a really good football team, and we're obviously going to have to be extremely prepared if we want a shot at winning it.
Well, I guess if you don't mind, I'd like to turn the page back before we turn the page forward.
Sure.
And in terms of turning the page back, let's talk about the Dallas game we just witnessed. Walk me through the interception you got and how you wound up being where you were, and maybe what you saw on film prior to the game led you to picking that one off, Fred.
Yeah, well, they had just ran that same formation, same play, or at least the same route by CD in that same area of the field. I think either the series before or maybe a couple series before that. And I played him too high. I was on top of him, and he kind of just sat down and Dak threw it to him for like a 6-yard gain. So on that next time I saw the same formation, I kind of sat on him a little more. He kind of gave me almost like a juke to try to work away from my leverage. And he didn't, I guess him and Dak didn't know that I had a nickel, Jimmy Ward, obviously sitting outside of me, for if he did do that. So when he did, Jimmy made a heck of a play being there, squatting on the route. And that was his interception. He jumped the route and the ball just happened to pop up from him. And I was in pursuit right there, ready to take it.
So do you thank Jimmy afterwards?
Of course. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was telling him. Everybody's telling me what great of a play I made, but I went to him. I'm like, look, Jim, that's all you. Like, that's a heck of a play by you.
And so I guess what I'm also driving at here is what you saw on film against Dallas, because that's a national conversation now about them winding up short, not getting to where they wanted to go, so on and so forth. What did you see on film that you were, in fact, able to exploit in this divisional playoff game from Dak and Dallas, Fred?
Yeah, I mean, we knew that obviously they were a great offense. They had a huge performance against the Bucs. Dak was coming off his best game of the season, and something that was interesting to me. I mean, I watched film all week long. We knew that they had some dynamic players, Tony Pollard and Zeke in the backfield was a great duo, and then obviously CD and Dalton Schultz was having such a good season. So we knew we had our hands full, but there was a stat I saw prior to the game where it said that Dak hadn't had 2 back-to-back games without an interception, I think it was, since 2019, which I was like, oh, that's an incredible stat. But, that doesn't really mean that he's necessarily going to, give you the ball. You got to go take it. But we knew we had to make his life hard, to try and get him to make some choice decisions out there. And I think obviously we did what needed to be done.
Fred Warner here on the Rich Eisen Show. Last time you were on was about 2 months ago when this kid named Brock Purdy was just starting, and you're like, I think he's got it. We've seen him. We think he can pull it off. We think he can do it. And now here you are heading to the NFC Championship game. Do you have a moment in the last 6 weeks where your initial thought was confirmed to you, either in practice or in a game, Fred, with him?
I mean, yeah, most definitely. I think, you mentioned us me being on the show and us talking that through. I think that was right after the Dolphins game when he had to come in and win the game for us against a great football team who was really hot at the time. And, I think what everybody wanted to see was, okay, how's he going to do when a team comes in like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, going, head to head against Tom Brady, and Brady being undefeated against rookie quarterbacks. So I think that was the moment that everybody kind of knew, like, okay, he can do it. He can hold his own and be the guy. And he's been that all along. And he's just been I can't talk enough about the poise and how incredible of how incredible of a piece he's been for us. Because he had to obviously prove that he's capable of leading us to where we are now. And he's done that. And it's a story that you can't draw it up any better, and people can't talk about it enough. I think obviously people are going to nitpick the way he plays and different scenarios throughout games and all this other stuff. He's done exactly what he needed to do, which is take care of the football. That's first and foremost what you got to do in January football. You got to be able to run the football. You got to take care of it, and you need great defense. And so as long as we have all those, we'll be just fine.
And then there's another youngster that I don't think gets nearly as much attention. He's behind you. Talk to me about Hufanga, will you please, sir? And what he does and how free he plays and how much he's manning the fort behind you. Fred, would you mind?
Yeah, I don't know if a lot of those guys in the back end get a lot of credit. Huff has had just an incredible season. In year two. At the beginning of the year, people knew that he was a good player based off the things they had seen from him the prior season, even though he wasn't the starter. When he'd come in, he'd make kind of these splash plays, and you see the style that he played with, and which was promising, But then he comes into this season just ready to go. Like he took a hold of being the starter from day one. And, if you would have told me that he would have been a first-team All-Pro, a Pro Bowler, and one of our best players on our defense and on our team, that's incredible to do in your second year, and he's got a knack for the football. He's always around it. The way he times up blitzes is better than anybody I've ever seen, and just plays with his hair on fire, man. I think he's one of the best, and I think the whole secondary is playing really well, really good football, playing together, and that's what we're going to need.
Fred Warner, all-pro linebacker of the San Francisco 49ers, getting set to head to Philadelphia for the NFC Championship game here on the Rich Eisen Show. And Fred, I don't take for granted that you call in during a very big week, take some time out of your prep to call into this show. So I'm going to help you prepare for the Eagles.
Ooh, nice.
Okay. They have this quarterback named Jalen Hurts. I'd keep an eye out for him. I'd keep an eye on him. He's elusive. He could throw it, too. I don't know if you're aware of that, if you've seen that on film. So you're welcome. Are you taking notes? Are you taking notes right now, Fred? I didn't tell you to grab a pen first.
I was already taking notes prior to the show, Rich. Okay. Come on now.
Okay, very good. I just want to, I'm trying to help. Just let Kyle know I'm helping. D'Amico, let them know I'm helping. So what do you already know about Jalen Hurts that you're going to be bringing into this game, Fred? Give me that one for you.
Yeah, I think aside from the things that everybody else sees, on film or on TV, the physical ability, obviously he can throw the ball, having multiple 1,000-yard receivers this season. But I think his mindset is what really separates him. Not being content with anything that he's done. You could tell that he was obviously raised the right way because he's gotten to the point that he is, but just the way that he approaches the game, something that I think, it's just something that I see from afar. I'm obviously not over there with him. I don't talk to him, but I know what he's made of, and that's somebody that you want at the helm of your team and of your offense is a leader of men, and he does it the right way, I feel like. So, obviously they're going to be ready to go.
By the way, I love what you just said, Fred, because I don't think that gets enough conversation, certainly in the national media or in the media at all, when we're talking about who goes against who and X's and O's and all that. But so you're essentially noticing from afar how he handles his business, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, that's just something that I've seen from afar, and like I said, I'm not there. I go off of what how his teammates speak of him, his coaches, other players around the league, and it's something that I take to heart as a player. Something that I try to do is play the right way and I study different mindsets amongst players and the greats, and He's doing it the right way.
So I mean, what keys are you willing to share here when you're right there in the middle of a defense that is going against an offense that ran it 44 times for 268 yards against the previous opponent? And again, I know the Giants aren't you, but they that's what they like to do, and they also have 7 runs that they called for their stellar quarterback, and you got to get to him too at some point on the front 7 to make sure he doesn't go up top to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, and we've already established you've got a secondary to handle that, but it all works together. What keys are you willing to share with us right now, Fred?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had more info for you at this very moment. I know the coaches are deep diving right now into the game plan and ways that we're going to attack the week. And that's something that we'll talk about more tomorrow when we come in. But just from watching myself, you got to stop the run, and that's every week. Honestly, that's every week. That's the goal, but it's easier said than done, and that's what everybody wants to do at this time of year. That's what winning football is being able to control the time of possession, impose your will on your opponent by running the ball, and I think that's obviously what our mindset will be, and however they want to run the ball with Jalen, with Miles, with whoever. They have a great O-line and great weapons, so we got to be on top of it.
Are you getting the sense, speaking of coaches, that these are your final snaps with D'Amico Ryans, no matter how off of this game or two? Fred, you getting that sense?
I mean, just obviously because I'm like D'Amico's almost like just like a older brother, or like what type of figure you want to call it. For me, I hope it is, which sounds funny because obviously I would never want him to leave, and I would never want to play for anybody else other than him. But I hope it is, man. He deserves it. He's ready. He's more than ready to go be a head coach somewhere and help a team go be great. And I know he's going to do an amazing job when he does.
Okay, and in my last moments with you, sir, let's talk about what making the Super Bowl would mean. Not just because you got close last year, but I remember, the COVID year and the Super Bowls in Arizona, which your team was forced to make your home away from home in a season that was completely lost. And the fact that you can go back and play for the championship in the building that was your de facto home away from home on Christmas week. I remember you were away from your families at the worst possible times in the worst possible moment. What it would mean for you to get back there and play for the championship in Arizona, Fred.
No, that's funny. I didn't even put that together really. But yeah, you mentioned it. That year in 2020 was a crazy year. It was unique. It was everything you could call it. Being in Arizona, that was our new home, and you mentioned it that this year, it being in Arizona, I guess that kind of adds an extra little element there. But I mean, it would mean everything. Seriously, I mean, we've been there. We've been to the NFC Championship Game 3 out of the last 4 years. I've been to the Super Bowl, and when you go so early in your career, I don't think you really. You don't really. I don't want to say I didn't respect it because trust me, when I was there, I'm like, this is like. I know how hard it is to get here, but it's just you don't really know, even though you think you don't know. And now being one of the head leaders of the team and a captain and having the role I do with the team, I mean, it would mean everything to go and to have a shot at winning it.
Yeah, it's my job to put stuff together, just like it's your job to take stuff apart, Fred. You know what I'm saying?
There you go. Yeah.
I'm not calling myself all pro, but I'd like to. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Fred. I appreciate that confirmation, that check mark. Have a great flight to Philadelphia. Let's chat potentially after the game and before the Super Bowl. How does that sound, Fred? We'd love it.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thanks, Rich.
I appreciate the time. At Fred_Warner on both Twitter and Instagram. One of the best in the business right here on The Rich Eisen Show. Catch The Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.